Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Lights, Camera, Pop, and it is a special episode. We have not one, but two guests. Well, we have a guest, but we also have a guest host today. We have myself, Rich, and with me, as always, is Mike.
How you
And
guys doing?
I hope everybody's doing great. And Brian the Misfit is with us today. This is
What's
just
up,
a
guys?
weird ass intro tonight. How you guys been doing?
Um, I'm pretty good. Can't complain.
Likewise.
Good. That's so I like to hear. It has been a crazy week. I pulled my back on Monday. I tried pushing through work on Tuesday. I was in Maryland. And then after that, fortunately, my days off were Wednesday and Thursday. So I got to recuperate a little bit. And yesterday I was at like an 80%. Today I'm feeling 100% better.
Oh,
So,
that's good.
oh man,
Good.
yeah, it's been grueling. And big shout out to my boss because like he's been throwing help to me every chance that I can get, and it wasn't even an injury or whatever that I hurt myself at work. So gotta love when you work for good people, you know.
Heating
That's always a
pads.
plus.
Dude, I was watching Michael before we got on, and have you either of you got to see this movie yet?
No.
Dude,
Mm-mm.
I don't know if you guys were ever fans of Michael Jackson, but let me tell you,
Yeah.
this is a phenomenal movie.
Is,
I'm very impressed by it.
is it good?
It's so good. I listened to a podcast a couple days ago that had I think it was Tony Lucas, and he did Any Given Sunday. He won some
Oh,
Tony Awards, and he did this movie. So it is so good. If you haven't got to see it, check it out. A lot of big news. Comic Con, San Diego Comic Con was just this past couple of weekend,
yep.
and a lot of stuff dropped. But we'll talk about that next week
It's a
because we
big
have.
fight there too. Did you see it? There's an actual fist fight at the San Diego Comic Con.
And
I just saw.
there was no context. It's just let's just video somebody fighting, but not tell us why.
I think.
And everyone thinks nerds aren't fucking violent, but we can throw down.
I think it
Um,
was. I think it was at an actual. Yeah, it was at like a WWE panel or like a wrestling panel.
that's just all right. Never mind. That nailed it.
So it wasn't
Um,
Marvel versus DC.
yeah, really.
He should have won.
James Gunn didn't crash Kevin Feige.
But so I did the record show yesterday, the
Mhm.
Pittsburgh record show yesterday. So that was a lot of fun. Brian missed it. Normally he comes with me, and everybody asks me. Everybody starts like, "Where's your little buddy?" I'm like, "Gilligan's at home with the family." You know, I mean, like, it was
Oh shit!
like,
He's at home. Where's your little buddy at?
like seriously, that's like Nan and all all the normal people, Brian, that are around us. They're all like, "Where's Brian at?" You know, I was like, he couldn't come today. He had stuff he had to do, and they're just like, "Ooh." I was like, "I know."
And see, and if you
Families, records trump family any day.
right, and see, Brian, if you ever think that you're not loved or ever missed, just think people are asking where you're at record shows and comic shows.
No,
Right?
I.
Oh, tennis balls wondering where you were.
That's an insult and a compliment. I love that.
He was, man. He was like, "Where's Brian at?" I was like, "He's not here." He's like, "Oh man." But all right, so let's get this party started. We have another person because we could just go on tangents all day long. So
Yeah.
I am going to do the honors of doing the introduction. Normally, that's a Rich thing, so today, bear with me. Um, Welcome to the show, a 40-year legend in the punk rock community. He was in the great skateboards slash hardcore band Hogan's Heroes. And then he moved on to play guitar in OS 101, which I have a really funny story because I met you guys years ago in Morgantown. We'll get to that later.
Okay.
And he also does a killer art book. Um, Come meet my punk rock family. I would like to introduce Johnny Miami.
I gotta tell you, that was a wonderful intro. Your check is in the mail. Oh,
Um, so Okay, well, let's just kind of get this out of the air since we all come from the punk rock and slash hardcore family here. We had a mournful, unfortunate, timeful, passing in the Brotherhood. Lou Kohler of the seminal hardcore New York hardcore band Sick of It All passed away of cancer the other day, and I mean
Yep.
that is to me this is like the hardcore version of when Ozzy died for the other people.
Oh,
That's just how I look at it.
yeah.
I mean, like Lou was. I'm sure you've had a lot more dealings with Lou than I have. I got to meet him on several occasions. And he was always like the biggest sweetheart,
Oh,
nicest
yeah.
guy I've ever met. Just phenomenal
Yeah,
dude. And
absolutely.
I mean I have three Sick of It All Dragons tattooed to my leg for crying out loud for a reason.
Yeah.
Just such a he is going to be missed and mourned for decades.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just it has hit everybody so hard. And God bless him for like really just putting up the good fight and, taking the time, to get on Instagram or Facebook and just let everybody know where he was at. And that really is just a real private thing to be going through. And the fact that he allowed everybody to come in, um, was pretty special, and he's going to be sorely missed. The band, forget it. Yeah, it's just one of the greatest bands, if not the greatest band. I mean, I'm a big Murphy's Law fan, but Sick of It All just has this dimension of, like you said, it's kind of like they are the Ozzy of our hardcore scene.
Yeah.
They just are, like, they bring it 100%. And what so accessible, and and it's taking the time, like I said in the book, taking the time to go up, introduce yourself, say hello. That's how it all begins. That's how this relationship has begun. But yeah, he's really going to be missed. I did text out to his brother yesterday, sending my condolences. He did respond, thank you. I can only imagine what the family's going through.
I don't even want to know with him. I mean, like I lost my father to cancer
Yeah,
several years ago, but
sorry.
still, and it's a deep wound for me for that. And I mean, like my heart and soul goes out to his family.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's my when I was younger, I my father brought me to a children's hospital in Philadelphia, and he had a plan behind it, of course, like a dad does. And it changed my life forever to see little kids going through exactly what Lou went through.
Right.
And it really it builds compassion in your heart. It gives you a complete different perspective on how to treat people. Um, to take the time to think, is that person having a bad day? Because is that why they're acting like that? Because something in their life is going on. We're so quick to judge and get defensive. But yeah, I think that changed my life. And then when I had heard that, when he announced that he had it, it was horrible. Even as
Right.
an adult, it doesn't matter what age you are. It's just really sad. And I really, I was praying that he was going to beat it, just like anybody else.
Absolutely.
It was funny because, like, literally the other when it got announced, my son and I were in my kitchen, and we were making pasta, and we were talking about shows and bands and stuff like that. And Sick of It All came up, and he was just like, he's like, because he never got to see Sick of It All,
Oh,
and he's
yeah,
20, he's going to be 21, but he never got to see Sick of It All. The
yeah.
last time they came through was a 21 and up show, so he couldn't go.
Oh,
And I was like, don't worry. I was like, we're going to see him. I was like,
yeah,
we'll see him next year. And he's like, yeah, I think we will too. And then as soon as I said that, I looked down on my phone and I had like 9 messages.
yeah,
And I looked at him and I went, Jeremy's nickname's Bug. I was like, hey, Bug, look at this. And I
yeah,
showed him the phone and he was just like, oh my God.
yeah,
And I was
yeah,
like, it was like weird that we were just literally talking about it. And then boom.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, and the reason why you said that is because they were probably the hardest working hardcore band I've ever known.
Oh yeah, I mean they've been around since what, 86? And
Yes.
they've hardly any lineup changes.
Right.
You never hear anything about it, and they've always been very consistent with
Yeah.
output and tours and everything. And
Yeah.
I'm
And
yeah,
that's why it was easy to say, well, when they come around next year, we'll go see them. Because
right,
it was almost expected that they would come through.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's just it's a heartbreaker. It really is a heartbreaker.
It's you know he had such a, I don't want to say it, like impact when like major news outlets even
Yeah.
spoke about it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like it was on like USA Today, and it was trending in Google News, like the number one news. So I mean, and that's a testament to exactly what kind of person
Yeah.
he was.
Yes. Yeah. He was a kind guy. You know, I had a brief encounter with Joey Ramone back in the day,
Oh wow.
and it was very similar dynamics. Very kind, very humble, welcoming, and easy to talk to. So that was the great thing about him, and that's what I love about the hardcore and the punk scene. Is there's a few people out there who have the attitudes,
Right.
but
You're never going to get away from that.
but the bulk of the guys who are genuine, you know, they 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 love hearing that that was an amazing show, and they will continue to bring that all the time. But yeah, the hardest working band, and that's not to take away anything from like Madball or anything like that.
No,
It just seemed like every time you turned around, they were going to Chile, or they were going to Europe, or they were going west. They were always going someplace.
they're always grinding. They're
Yeah.
always grinding.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Terror's the same way. Terror's a great
Yeah.
band. They're always on tour. I mean, like, but then again, that's I think that's part of just our culture in general. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like the punk, the hardcore scene.
Yeah.
Um, and we and let's just face it, like we're not. How do I want to say it? We're not like these like magical mythical creatures. You know, like, we're not like Taylor Swift. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, you when you go to these shows, like especially when the bands just start off, chances are you saw them in basements or
Yeah.
some club the size of a bathroom. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
So like
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
you can always remember I saw you back when you were XYZ,
Yeah.
and that's it. And most of them don't forget it or don't want to forget it.
Well, yeah, because I mean, it's all starting out like you said in basement shows at VFW shows. You're going through it together, and when you're a young band, you want to try to play with the bigger bands. You want to try to get a 7-inch out. There's all like these little stepping stones,
Right.
and to be able to achieve the status that they were at, the level that they were at, is amazing from a bunch of guys, blue collar street guys, good guys, to go to that level. To me, it's well earned, it's well deserved. It will live on forever. His legacy will live
Oh
on
yeah.
forever.
Yeah.
Um,
He's immortal now.
yeah. And the thing is a lot of people should watch his interviews and learn from him how soft spoken he was, how, like I said, how kind he was. On stage, he was a monster,
Oh
but
yeah.
when he sat down, and he always took the time to take photos with people,
I
never
love that.
begrudged anybody anything, and that's what makes the scene so great.
And his voice was so distinct.
It was.
It was so distinct.
Yeah, it was great, and he could always just get you going. Always.
Oh yeah. I've seen, I can't even tell you how many SOIA shows I've seen,
Yeah.
and I can honestly say I could never say, oh well, they just dialed that one in. Like every single show was just
I would go.
awesome.
I would go see them either with Tony or Skip, and every time we seen them through the years, like we would look at each other and go, "We got to fucking step it up."
Right?
You know what I mean? But in a good way, not in a competition way, but watching them as they were going through their years, you'd go, "Oh wow, we got a lot of work to do."
And the cool thing is they want to see you succeed too.
Yeah.
They don't want to be like, oh well, we're better than you. They
Yeah,
want to be
right.
they're not the kind of people that they climbed up the ladder and then pulled it up behind them.
Right.
They not only did they climb up the ladder, but they stuck their hands down to help pull you up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, great, great. Just a great band, great legacy. Um, just a really sad, sad loss. I mean,
It was.
you know what? It reminds me when Dave Franklin from Vision passed away.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just, you knew, like, Dave was a brother to everybody. Like, that was his line. Hey, brother, you know what I mean? But you didn't know the level of how many people he got to know in his life until they had that show for him in Asbury Park.
Asbury Park, yeah.
I mean, it was just an amazing moment for him and his family and friends, and it's almost like for me, because I was close to Dave, that's what it's like with Lou now. It's as shocking as when Dave passed.
And one also cool thing about our scene, the punk and the hardcore scene, is like look at what Revelation Records did when Lou was going through that re-released at 7-inch. All the money went to hip. Whenever anything bad happens to anybody in our scene, we do shows for them, and like just try to help everybody out.
Well, that's
like H2O says, we're family.
Yeah, well, we're living in the real world. We're not detached from it. You know, we're all living the struggle every day in our lives. Like you said, we're grinding. I think anybody who is art creative, whether it's what you guys do, it's all part of the dynamic of what punk and hardcore is. It all comes together. And that's how I think people outside of our scene don't realize the capacity of it all. How the comic book guys, the bands, the fanzines, the people who make the t-shirts, the merchandise,
it's all connected.
The DIY labels, it's all interconnected, and it was done without the big corporations, and
right.
It's beautiful, it really is. It's amazing. I'm so thankful to be part of it, that it entered my life when it did.
Back when we started, in the 80s and the 90s, we didn't have the internet. So it was literally like getting people's phone numbers and writing people and, setting things up that way. Fanzines, scene reports, like all that stuff that and it all connected us. And then it all made us better friends too.
Yeah.
I still have friends that I talk to from that, I met just because of shows or buying records or trading records with.
Right.
Right.
I mean,
it's just, it's fantastic.
I still have my old phone book with all of the Anthrax phone number and Hill at CB's, and I have everybody's numbers there. And it was, it was a pop shot. It was like you pick up the phone, you dial the number, they either answered or they didn't.
Right.
And you kept calling and calling until someone picked up the phone.
Until someone said, "Shut up," or "Yeah, I'll help you."
Yeah, like, what do you want? I just want to, I want to open for you guys. Oh, all right.
Right.
But yeah, it was it was definitely a way of I don't know. It really is just like no other thing. And coming out of the 80s, and that's what it was. It was a piece of paper that you stuck in your pocket, and you had somebody's phone number. I mean, I could remember we wanted to play the Anthrax, and I drove up to CB's to play to see. I don't know if it was the day that Youth of Today did play there, but I had the Built to Last record, and Porcelli was walking out, and I introduced myself. And I said, "Hey, my name's Johnny from Hogan's Heroes, and we got this record out. We'd love to do some shows with you guys." And with that moment, he got us at the Anthrax, playing. I think the first one he got us on with was with Judge, and I think Chain of Strength played. But again, it's that moment of giving and being appreciative of the work that they also do.
For sure.
That Anthrax show in Connecticut that you're talking about, Chain of Strength,
Yes.
with you guys, that was the only time I ever got to see Chain of Strength, was that show.
Was it really?
Yes.
Yeah.
The only. I grew up in Philly. I
Yeah.
grew up in Philadelphia, and now I live on the outside. Now I live in the Pittsburgh-ish region.
Okay.
But yeah, like that,
Now
me and
he's
my
slumming
sister and a couple other friends, that was the only time I got to see Chain of Strength.
Well,
And wow, was it freaking awesome.
That was
a great show.
It was a great show. And this was the funny thing about that. We were loading in our equipment. We got there early. We always got to the places early. Every one of the bands didn't have a bass rig. They're like, "Hey, can I use your bass rig?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then, "Can I use your bass rig?" And then, "Judge, can we?" My bass rig stayed there the whole time.
That's
And
awesome.
that's like my one success story. Like all the guys, all the bass players, played through my bass rig. So,
That's
but
fantastic.
but the Anthrax was fun. I mean, I remember
Yeah.
seeing Murphy's Law there. We would drive up there. What was it, like 8 hours to get there, just to see the Gorilla Biscuits or something? Just insanity. It was insanity.
It was crazy. Me and my friends still talk about like laughing. Yeah, because like we're all old now, so it's just like, oh my god, like I don't want to drive 5 hours for a show anymore, but I do it now because my son and
Yeah.
my son's like all into it, and it's just great seeing him like shows through his eyes of like
Yeah.
when I was his age. Because me and Brian went in my son Jeremy went to Cleveland because we saw Judge in Cleveland about a month or two ago,
About that,
and
yeah.
Yeah.
that was a great show. That
It
was a
was.
really good show.
Yeah.
And
You know what the thing is? It's an obligation too. Like with your son, if any young person is showing an interest towards the scene, it's up to us to show them the right way, and you're doing that. You know what I mean?
Yes, it is. You're right, and we have to keep it alive.
Yeah.
We have to keep it alive.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So when you started doing your book, Meet My Punk Rock Family, how did that come about?
It's. I could bore you to death with it. I mean.
No, you can't. Trust me.
Okay. Well, my father had passed in September of 2021, and my mom was still alive at the time. And soon after he passed, she started showing stages of dementia, Alzheimer's.
Okay.
And so basically at that point, I committed my life to her. Of course, I was going to work during the day,
Yeah.
but I would go there at night. And it's a really, really horrible disease. And I didn't know much about it. But I think what I'm trying to get at is I was watching my mom slowly decline. There were moments where she had this clarity, and she would bring up a couple of things. And one of them was, I always drew those cartoons of myself, like forever. And when I was in my 30s, I had a sign shop. I had 2 employees working for me. And I remember her and my dad had stopped by the shop, and she came into the back room, and my work table, I had all these cartoon drawings. And she had said to me, if I had money, I would put those on t-shirts and you would sell them. And you would do really good. It's what a mom or dad would do, right?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
But at the time, my mind wasn't there. Like I had a sign shop. I was married at the time. I had 2 employees. I had a band going on the road. And it wasn't until the quiet nights of making sure that she was okay that it came up about the drawings. And it became a real spiritual journey because I never thought about doing a book, never thought about doing these drawings, but I opened myself up to it. And in connection with that, some years ago, I had gotten Bell's palsy,
Oh.
and I didn't even know what that was about. And someone had introduced me to a holistic chiropractor where they actually don't crack you. They actually adjust you by just kind of like moving your head and stuff. It's pretty amazing stuff. But this woman that I go to not only physically realigns you, she mentally realigns you. So I started to open myself up to things that were coming at me. And I just one day was like, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start drawing again while I sit and wait for her to fall asleep. And then I'll head home. And the book just kind of came at me in little pieces. And I said, well, no one's going to buy a book of me. I'm not, there's nothing entertaining about it. There's only so many people who know me, and then I thought, well, what if I do it where I'm introducing one of my friends that I met at a hardcore show? And the first guy that I thought of was like Jimmy G, because he was very helpful to us. Rabies was very helpful to us. And then that's what I did. Like, I used me, my eyes and my face as the shape, and then I built them around that. And then I sat and actually the first one that I did was of Ray of Today. And I looked at it, I laid it on my counter and I looked at it and I said, yeah, I'm going to run with this. And then I did Jimmy, and then I did, Rabies. And then it was a matter of, okay, well, I've got all these drawings. What do I do now? And I didn't have a title. I didn't have a cover. I knew the message was going to be a positive message. I wanted it to be kind of like a learning tool. That's why I have it as a kid's book for adults.
Right.
And then I was worried about copyright infringement.
Sure.
I can't put someone's full name, or I mean, I probably could, but I wanted to stay away from any problems whatsoever. So then I decided to make it an interactive book, which was, this is my friend Ray. And Ray plays for many bands, but one of the bands he plays for is, can you guess? So now again, I was trying to stay away from any kind of copyright
Right.
infringement, but it was also again becoming interactive. And then it hit me about, what is it that I did as a kid to me, Vinny Sigma. Now, Agnostic Front played across the bridge in Toms River at the Dover Firehouse. Now, these are the guys that I only seen in the centerfold of Victim in Pain, right? Listening to the record and looking at the picture of them playing. And when I went to the show, I realized how accessible these guys were. I mean, they looked tough. They looked like they could beat your head pretty good. But when you walked up to them and said, oh my God, that was an amazing show. Thank you so much for coming. And that's how my relationship with them grew from there. And then that's when I wrote, go to a show, stop to say hello, shake a hand, show some love. And that basically became the message that I was going to follow with this. for anybody who was going to read the book. You know, this is basically how you create friends in our punk and hardcore scene. And the cover was actually the last thing to come together. So it started off with this journey with my mom, which was very special to me. And at the time, you know, she passed this past Palm Sunday, so she
I'm
was
sorry.
alive. Thank
Sorry to
you.
hear that.
She was alive when the book came out, so I had dedicated it to her because really, it was her. It was like me just showing her the pictures, going, "Hey, what do you think? This is my friend," and like the one that I did is Skip. She was like, "That's Skip," and it was just but it was real special moments like that, and I thought, yeah, I'm gonna run with this, and then I started, you know, I really wanted Revelation to be part of it. Like that was really my big thing. Like I love Revelation Records, and
Oh, me too.
yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where I had called Ray. Ray was over in India. He had come back, and I reached out to him and I told him what I had worked on, and he's like, "Dude, let's get on a three-way with Jordan and tell him what you got." And at that time, I only had my own copy that I had made, like just layers of photographs, and I stapled together. And I actually put the Revelation logo on the back. I was really kind of hoping I could sell it to him, and but it didn't work. But he did. You know, we still talk, and I was talking to him, and he's like, you know, John, I really don't sell books. I mean, he goes, I sell books online, but I really don't put out books. You know, I do records. He goes, but I'll distribute it for you, which I thought was really pretty amazing.
Oh, thank
And
you.
yeah, so it's a lot of things like that. It flowed very nice making the book as the ideas came in just little bits and pieces, and I was really happy with it. And I knew in the back of my brain that I wanted to do like 5 volumes and then a master volume. Like that's what I have set in my brain. Will it happen? I don't know, but it's my goal for this.
It's a lofty goal, but I'm sure you can probably do it. Jordan, I mean, like Jordan Copper
Well,
is a cool dude too, so and I'm sure he'll,
yeah.
yeah, like, yeah, he'll spur you along a little bit, kind of push you.
Yeah,
Same with
well,
Ray.
yeah, and I think that that's with anything. I mean, listen, I already have the second set of people already set for volume 2. It's just that now I have to draw me introducing them, and I just love all the people that are in it, and you know, so that's the next thing. But the thing too is, it went back to doing DIY again. You know, I outlaid $5,000 to order 800 books,
Right.
you know, so it was a credit card purchase,
Sure.
and now it was up to me to kind of try to make connections to get it out there. And the one of the things that I got lucky with is Chris from the band Overthrow from Long Island.
Okay.
They just did like a they just did a small stint like Virginia and the Carolinas, and I reached out to him and I said, listen, do you mind taking 10 copies with you? Put them on your table, you know, sell them with your merch, and I'll split it 50-50 with you.
Nice.
And he was like, yeah, send them up. And I did. And he sold a couple down there. And now they're going to be heading out to California. So if I could do that with more bands, that would be great, because actually the split is $8 to them, 7 to me. So you know, it's like that's what I would really like to see happen, like with Jimmy G and those guys, and you know that they could put it on our table. They're in the book. Yes, it is helping me, but it's also promoting them as well,
Absolutely.
and like, you know, like helping seal their legacy after we're all gone.
I it's just hearing this whole story is just amazing to me. I love
Thank
how everything just fell into place. It seems like,
you.
and
Yeah,
I know, so obviously there's been struggles along the way, but you definitely seem like you've had the strength to just keep going and saying, fuck everything else. And I'm going to do this.
Well, you know what the thing is I committed my life for the time that my mom was alive. I made that promise to my dad.
Mhm.
And there was a lot of time where I was just sitting with her. I mean, it came to a point with dementia where they'll stop writing. There came a day where she decided she wasn't going to walk anymore. These were all things that I was learning. But one of the things she had wrote, I would always get like the little yellow sticky pads, and I would sit with her at the kitchen table, and I would say, "Mom, give me some winning lottery numbers." You know, just to joke with her, but to try to make her laugh. And she would write like some numbers, and then I would go play them. Ah, Ma, we didn't win. So the last time she actually wrote something, I said, "Come on, Ma, give me some winning lottery numbers." And she ended up writing Gina, who's my sister. She wrote Gina, Rosalie, which is my mom, and then she wrote John. And on the top, she wrote the number 333. That was the last thing she wrote. Now, when I went to work the next day, I stuck it on my chalkboard so I could kind of look at it. And I had no idea the significance of the number 333. And you really have to look it up. So when I sign my book, I don't do the 333. I do the 2 3s, the 33, because the 33 kept coming up. Every time I was moving forward with the book, the number 33 was coming up. And when Ray was in India last year, was it last year? I think it was last year. He said, "I'll be back in the States March 3rd."
Wow.
That's 33.
33.
So if you want to try to connect everything, that's one way of doing it. And when he sent that March 3rd, call me after March 3rd, I'll be back in the States. I was like, I know I am exactly where I need to be right now.
The writing was on the walls.
Yep. The universe was telling you, this
Yeah.
is what you need
Yeah.
to be. This is
Absolutely.
what you need to be doing.
It's also
Yeah. And
I was just gonna say I was going back
I
to
lost you.
Lou when you guys were talking about Lou and everything. It really struck me because he seemed like the kind of guy, and a lot of the bands that you talk about as well seem like the kind of people you meet and talk to in the horror industry, because a lot of them they play these grueling, gruff characters that people wouldn't want to walk up to, but then you meet them in person,
Yeah.
and they're like little kittens.
Yep.
No.
So yeah, it's pretty wild. It's such a
Yeah. 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 I mean, it really is amazing. It's like, I have a great friendship with Stickman from Fury 5, James. Now there's a guy who's a tower. You know what I mean? And when Fury 5 first came out, they were a force to be reckoned with. And but you go and you talk to them and you show them that respect, you get it right back. Because if anybody can handle their business, it's definitely him. But
Oh, yeah.
and that's what I mean about, like, there is this brutal look about the hardcore scene, the tattoos and whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But there's also a great kindness behind it too.
Well, they always say, like, was it punk guys are really nice people trying to look mean, where hippies are really mean people trying to look nice. Like, there's
I
that.
love that. I love that. I love that. Fuck the
I always get a
hippies.
kick out of that.
And that reminds me of like when Kevin Second said, like, nothing more than a drugged out threat, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think that was off the Crew record, right?
Yep.
Like, that echoes in my brain forever. And yeah, good people. It's a good community. There are some people out there who want to spoil it, but there are people who will put them right in check, and that's it.
Like I said, I mean, there's always going to be bad apples, no matter, unfortunately, no matter like what scene we're in, no matter where you are. There's always going to be that dick jerk that's going to just, try to
Yeah,
screw things up.
Of course.
yeah,
But 9.5 out of 10 times, everybody's going to be like the coolest person you're going to meet.
absolutely, absolutely.
So
I mean, like I've been in the scene. Okay, talking about Revelation Records.
Yeah.
I have a letter from Jordan saying I was the first person to ever order from Revelation Records.
No,
Yes,
that's awesome.
yes, like literally, like like I got the Warzone 7-inch came in and I pulled it out and there was Mike. Sorry for the delay. You were our first order. And then like it went in and it talked about the comp. And it was
Yeah.
like how like sick of it all still had to record. You thought
Yeah.
the day was done. Like it was just phenomenal. It was just and like I'm a pack rat, so I kept it. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
still have
Oh,
that
yeah.
letter and everything.
I have a very similar letter myself because when the Gorilla Biscuits released their 7-inch, as a matter of fact, it's in my cabinet. Jordan wrote a letter. Sorry, we'll be sending you the cover as soon as we make more.
Yeah, yeah.
So I've got this, and I sent him a photo of it, and he was just laughing. He was like, "Did you ever get the cover?" And I'm like, "No." So he's like, "Oh man, I'm sorry about that." He's a really cool dude to talk to. He really is.
I remember like trading GI Joe toys for freaking
Yes.
in the day.
Whoever thought?
I know,
listen,
right?
Listen, and whoever thought that they would become a mecca?
Oh my God. Whoever thought that like Chuck Kington Suckett was going to be going for like $10,000? You know?
Can you imagine? Some of the T-shirts are like
Oh my
thousands of
God.
dollars.
Okay. Well, your OS 101 CD off of Resurrection. That goes for like $50.
No,
Yes.
that's amazing.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Like whenever I'm doing like a record show or something like that, I always say it's like you have to be rich to be punk these days. I mean, like whenever
Yeah.
you're looking at like Ryan can attest to this. I mean, like we're looking at like Misfit records for like billions of dollars. You can
Yeah.
pay off the GDP with a cough
Yeah.
cool.
Hey, Mike, how much was
Yeah.
that? How much was that button?
Oh my God, yeah. A Misfits button. What did that go for? Like $1,500 for a button or some shit?
It went for more than what it should have gone.
Yeah. I mean, like, oh my God. I remember back in the day buying 3 Hits from Hell for like 60 bucks. Now they start off at like 1,400.
It's incredible, and it just goes to show you the worth of just how fantastic our music scene is.
Yes.
When all these years later, you could sit and say, "I told you so," but we had nothing to prove.
right.
Right.
There was nobody at Atlantic saying, "I told you so," but now the record industry could look back on that and go, "Wow, boy, did we
Yep.
fall short on that."
Yeah, we screwed the pooch bad.
Yeah. And luckily they did because it kept it real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They kept it real.
Exactly right.
But
I like I said, like I did a show yesterday, and when I was there, like there's people selling like like Beatles records and like all these everything, and they're like 35, $40 a piece, and I'm just like, here's a Warzone for $500.
I know, right? Because you know that there's only so many of them out there. Like
Yeah.
realistically, and that's what always made them so great to have. It's like, listen, I've got a box in my closet with Super Touch long sleeve T-shirts and token entry shirts and stuff. And at some point, I guess when I get to the point where I retire, maybe I'll sell them off in bulk to one person. but right now they're still mine. So that's that.
Yeah. The only thing I sell is pretty much like doubles and stuff like that I've picked up over the years, and
Yeah.
yeah, because I still have like my gems that I'll be buried with. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
or pass on to my kids. My son will want them. My daughter will be like, I could sell all these and switch my film career, but she wants to be a director.
Good for
Um,
her.
yeah, that's her goal.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
she'll do it too, if anybody.
Definitely
Good.
be sure to hit up Mike if you need any Kiss comics.
No, don't even get me started.
I'm sorry, buddy.
I am not a Kiss fan.
No, no, no.
I was gonna say, I thought you weren't a fan. Now you're getting Kiss comics.
No, no. I mean, unless you need door stoppers,
Yeah, there we go.
Wow.
coasters.
I seat my my coffee pot on top of them.
Oh,
Oh man.
So how long ago, like when did you start getting into playing in the bands?
yeah.
Well, my go-to story was when I lived in Nutley. I went to junior high school with Mark Ryan from Super Touch. He wasn't Mark Ryan of Super Touch then, but when I first met Ryan, we rode our BMX bikes around, and every summer I would go down to the Jersey Shore because my grandfather owned a house. And going into my freshman year in Nutley, I see Mark come walking down the hallway with a shaved head, wearing all black with combat boots. And he was like, dude, I went to this place called CB's and this. And then it was like a listening party at his house. He's the one who really got me turned on to punk and hardcore music. And I didn't play in my first band until I moved down here. And it was a band called The Unexpected. And I was a really, really, really bad guitar player. But I guess they kind of put up with it. So I played like rhythm guitar. And then when the bass player left, I moved over to bass, which at that time I found to be much easier to play. So I met those guys, I guess it was 83 is really when I started in my first band.
Wow. And that was the name of that group was
The Unexpected.
The Unexpected.
Yeah. And so Joe, who was the guitar player, really was ahead of his time for me because he introduced me to the Bad Brains cassette when that came out. And then when we went and recorded, we actually recorded where that Bad Brains cassette was done in New York City. And Jerry Williams was there, but there was another Rasta guy who recorded us. We did like a 4 or 5 song demo. But I learned a lot through Joe. And I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, it was The Unexpected. Oh, he was so in tune with the scene. He reached out to Brian Walsby. That he's like a pretty famous artist now.
Yeah.
And was even back then. I mean, he did Walk Together, Rock Together, and he had Joe hired him to do the front cover of the 7-inch, and I think it cost Joe like $100 or something like that. And so it's so funny because all these years later, I'm chatting with Brian Walsby, sending him a photograph of the cover of the 7-inch, and he's like, "Oh my God, I remember that." But that's how cool the scene is. It's like, it's 30 years, 40 years past, and hey, I know you don't know me, but he was a really cool guy, Joe, and he was definitely ahead of the curve and got me into playing the music and understanding it a little bit more. And yeah, Unexpected was the first band. There's a 7-inch, but there was maybe 100 of them.
And when
And
you started
I
getting
have one. I have one of them.
when you
Yeah.
started getting into the scene a little bit more, was a lot of other bands welcoming to you and everything, or like I'm not sure, like was there any kind of rivalry, or it's like, oh, like, we got these up and comers, and like, like the seniors and freshmen in the high schools.
Well, down here in Ocean County, it was very hard. And I think that this was probably anywhere in the 80s. It was very hard to find people who were what you were into.
Mm-hmm.
So once you found that core group, it was that became like your fan base. But getting shows and stuff like that, like, I think so. You had the Misfits, the Misfits were there. They did their thing, they were gone, and then it became Sam Hain. And then you had like bands here was like AOD, Bedlam, um, Pleased Youth, and bands like that. They were just ahead of us. And then the group of bands that came out of our area was like Social Decay, Lethal Aggression, Overkill was a little bit further south. So that was like that new generation coming in. As AOD was going out, we were all coming in. So we were all in that movement together, helping one another.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really don't think it's any different today. It's like if if you've got a group of friends who are playing in bands, you're going to help each other out. You're going to get each other shows. So
Right.
I don't think that there was any kind of competition. Could there have been friendly competition like, oh, we're going to blow the doors off of them tonight, or that's our goal tonight is to kill it. You know what I mean? But if that was it, that was it.
Now you started Hogan's Heroes 84, 85?
Yeah, it was very yeah, 84, because I was only with the Unexpected for maybe a year, and I knew I wanted to do something different. And my good friend Derek Rinaldi, who lived in Ortley Beach with me, who ended up becoming a pro skater, I told him, he was the first person I said, I wanna start a hardcore band, like a skate thrash band, DRI meets 7 seconds. And I need to find some guys who are going to be into that. And then when I went into my junior year, I put out the word, and within like 2 weeks, everybody was there. Like the band was there. The first generation of the band.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's how quick it happened. And it was on. It was practicing almost every day in the drummer's garage, and then going and recording and making demo tapes. Because
gotta love DIY. Just gotta love DIY.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and that's what it was. And it was all just gaining experience and meeting people. I mean, we were playing with Vision when they were Neurotic Impulse. That was the first name of their band, was Neurotic Impulse. That's how far back this is going.
Right.
Yeah, so it's like, what we were doing in the 80s was really laying a foundation for Ocean County. The high school that I went to were maybe 4 people who knew what punk and hardcore was. That's it. You had your jocks, you had your burnouts, you had your preppies, and then there were the scattered few of us. That was it.
Right. Scattered into the dust.
Yeah.
When you started OS 101, like how did that come about?
We had done our last Hogan's Heroes tour to the West Coast. We had Ian. I had moved on to guitar. Ian was on bass, and Ian's friend Brian Shirley was on drums. And we had been doing shows. We had played with the Cro-Mags at the Fast Lanes in Asbury Park. We were doing some really good shows, and we were on our way to Gilman Street to play. And I was sitting with Skip. Now, we went on tour in a Chevy S10, the little Chevy S10, with a cap on the back.
Wow.
We drove from Jersey all the way across the United States with surfboards on the roof,
Oh wow.
all the equipment pushed as far up as we can into, Chevy S10s were small back then.
Oh yeah.
And then the tailgate was here. It was me and Skip up against the tailgate. This was the equipment. And then you had Brian and Ian in the front driving. That's what we toured in. But that's just to show the commitment of what we wanted to do. But when we were on our way to Gilman Street to play, I had said to Skip, I said, I just feel like that this has run its course, and the true story about it is we did a couple really great shows out there. And the thing that we kept on hearing was, what took you so long to get out here? We heard that quite a bit. And it was hard for us to get out there. Like, it was really hard for us to make those connections to get on the road. And that was kind of echoing in my brain. And I said to Skip, what do you think about, like closing the book on Hogan's Heroes and starting something new, and see if we could add our own flavor. It was just like we were playing the same songs that we were playing when we were 16, 17, and so many members had come and gone. And it was just really, I think that tour, and that's where we had released the Uncle Ben 7-inch, and we had taken that out with us. And when we got back, Skip was talking to Ian, and Tony wanted to come back into the band, but didn't want to really do Hogan's Heroes. So they came up with the name OS 101, and I was on board with it because I had been learning guitar a certain way that I wanted to play, and Ian was a great bass player. And then to have Tony finally want to come back in and play hardcore music again, it was great because it was almost like the original three. It was Skip, me, and Tony. And then Ian caught the tail end of Hogan's Heroes and now was coming into OS 101. So it was really just a matter of knowing that what Hogan's Heroes was, let's leave it at that. It was never going to plateau to the level that we had hoped it would.
Right.
When you guys were on Resurrection, okay,
Yes.
you guys were just putting your CD out on Resurrection. You played weird little club in Morgantown, West Virginia.
You were telling me about this today.
And the club now is called 123 Pleasant Street, but when you guys played there, it was called the Nyabingi Dance Club.
Oh,
Dance
yeah.
Hall.
Yeah.
I was there.
Okay.
And me, my one friend Jay, and my friend Scott, and a couple other people came. And we were the only people that were like, quote unquote, like hardcore kids. The rest were just, locals.
Yeah.
And Morgantown, especially back then, did not have much of, if any, like punk and or hardcore scene. It was pretty much they played both kind of musics, country and western.
Right.
So
Yahoo.
yeah. So you guys were playing, and we're like, all right, we're gonna go. So we drove down, and you guys were playing. So the four of us hardcore guys started, dancing. Well, the natives did not enjoy us there, and a fight ensued, and I was the one that ended up getting kicked out of the show. Out of all the ones that it was me, I was the one that got kicked out.
You're that guy.
I'm that guy.
Well, thank you for your sacrifice. How's that?
It was well worth it.
And yet here we are today. See, it all came full circle.
Right. We live
Right?
to tell the story.
Yeah,
So like,
battle scars and all.
right. Like so as we're winding down the like so you have the book coming out, you've done all this amazing music all these years. Has there ever been a moment that you're just like kind of a dark moment where you're just like, I just kind of want to give it all up, just walk away? Do you ever have any of those moments?
No. You know why I had such a
Sure.
when I was married, my wife was from Liverpool, and I had great in-laws, and they were all about music. And so I always had a great support mechanism, and I could
Fantastic.
not see my life without music or art. I mean, you know, again, we never made it to that pinnacle as a hardcore band, but it, the people that we met, the stories that we have, I mean, just all that stuff it was worth every minute,
Now,
and
have you ever had that? I got to pinch myself because I can't believe I've lived this life moment. Like a holy shit! Like I can't believe like I've had so much fun, so much. Like I'm not talking like leave the like any downside out of it. More
yeah,
along the lines of like I can't believe I've been blessed to be able
yeah,
to do this.
yeah. I mean, I am forever thankful. I mean, to have had the opportunity. I had a short stint with Murphy's Law, and to be able to play with Todd Youth, to look across the stage and see him playing, I mean, for me, that was my Mount Everest, was like the time that I spent with him. And then the friendship that I made beyond that with him is just, watching him on YouTube with Glenn Campbell. And I'm like, I played with that dude on stage, you know,
Right?
listen to me. A lot of people don't know this, and I'll say this real quick. When we signed to New Red Archives, we signed the contract at the Record Canteen, which was right next door to CB's. It was the CB's Record Canteen. And we were going to be doing a show, a matinee with Prong and Ludacris, and I can't remember who the other band was. And Rabies was kind enough to sit at the next table to listen to what Nikki Garrett was offering us as a record deal.
Wow.
That's a forever moment, because we looked at him, and I don't know if it was him that suggested, because usually when you do a record deal, the record company gets basically the record for life. And it was said, well, they had already released Built to Last. The artwork is already done, the recording's already done. They'll give it to you for 6 years. And he agreed on that. So that was another moment that, yeah, it is a pinch me moment that, there's Rabies, who was the coolest motherfucker. I don't care. It was just an amazing dude. Was there to kind of, guide us
He was
along the way.
he was another awesome guy, but a very intimidating son of a bitch too. Like,
Yeah, but you know what? But isn't that, and I don't want to say character in the wrong way, but that's the mystique of it all. Like when he got on stage, it was business.
yes,
It was work gloves on.
Warzone was incredible. I remember him being a bouncer at CB's.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, he bounced at the pyramid, and
yeah,
yeah. Why
he was.
why would you even think about fucking with that guy?
I wouldn't.
You know what I mean?
I wouldn't.
So if you're a newbie and you don't know him, the last thing you're going to do is give him any kind of schism. Fuck that.
Yeah, the first time I ever met him, I was probably like 15, 16 years old. And I'm just like, this guy can break me like a number two pencil.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
You know?
yeah.
So I was like,
But again,
anything you say, sir.
yeah, but again, you sit with him, and it was, talking about, hey, you want to do a show in Connecticut? Do you want to go to Long Island? And that's what it was about.
And it was just so cool because, like, yeah, I was a young dude. I was going there because my sister's older, and my sister was one that would take me to places like this. That was her version of babysitting.
Okay.
But phenomenal way of babysitting, and it changed my life. I saw Discharge in 1984. I couldn't understand a fucking word they said. They said fuck a lot, and they had mohawks. I was hooked.
And it was
And
cool.
and I'm well over 50, and I'm still doing it. No,
Yeah.
mom, it's not a phase.
No, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he looked like the scene looked out for the younger guys too,
Yeah.
especially back then. Like yes, there was. Let's face it, New York, Philly, New Jersey was not the nicest places. It wasn't Disney World, and bad shit happened in those areas
Oh,
when
yeah.
shows were going on. But it seemed like the older guys kind of, I'm not going to say they shielded it from the younger guys, but they wouldn't really expose it to the younger guys either, to the younger kids either.
Right.
Yeah.
Which was, I always thought was like, looking back on it now, I think that's amazing. It's amazing.
And I try to think about, like, where did that stem from? Did that stem from, like, Ian from Minor Threat? Where did that formula of protecting the younger, whatever they were doing, But
Right.
like you said, they were protecting the younger scene, the younger generation. And I always wondered, how did that start? Was it just because they're good people? It's something to really ponder about,
I would like to think it was the fact that they were deep down good people.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that like they knew that this was shady,
Right.
and this person is just a little bit too. It was almost like it's like the teen version of like R-rated, PG, X-rated.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
right.
Like we kind of like you. How old are you again? All right, yeah, go over there and wait for a while.
Yeah.
Like type of deal.
Yeah.
This isn't for you yet.
Yeah.
Which is,
right.
and I think that's wonderful. I always thought that was great.
Yeah. The scene is really, it has its moments, of course, but overall, it's just good people with good intentions, trying to put on shows, trying to get bands to play, trying to get them a couple of bucks still, if you can. And that's what it is, and it's still doing it. And it's going to do it well after we're gone, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're just the stewards of it for now.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
So
John,
go ahead.
the book, my
Yeah.
punk rock. Where can everybody find that at?
So, Rev HQ has it for, I think it's $15. Bookbaby.com has it for $15. It is on Amazon, but Amazon really pumped up the price. I think it's like $19 on Amazon, but you could get it the next day. And then I have an eBay page where, I'll sign it if you want. I have a bunch of stickers that I'll throw in the book. And basically you just go on, search for Punk Rock Family, the book, and it'll come right to me. And I have it up there for $15.
And that's the way in my opinion, that's the way I think it should be done, because it supports you directly.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is the thing. It's a love. It's. I loved doing it. I love doing it. I'm excited about being able to put more out, but I do have a debt that I have to pay.
Absolutely.
And I did make a promise that I would donate 12% of the total proceeds to St. Jude's Hospital. That was the vow that I made. And I will do that. As a matter of fact, probably by this Christmas, I'll write out the first check to, I mean, it won't be a lot of money, but it's something. And that's what I feel that this is about. It's about giving back. I mean, so if you buy it on eBay, you'll be buying it directly through me. And then, like I said, I'll throw a bunch of stickers and stuff in there. And if you want me to personalize it to somebody, I will do that for you.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's amazing. Man, congratulations on everything that you've done
Thank you.
and
Thank you.
accomplished, and what's to come is just. You are such a genuine guy. I mean, you literally are like an amazing person.
Thank you very
I
much.
can't wait.
appreciate
I
that.
can't wait for volumes 2 through 5. Actually, I can't wait for volumes 2 through 25. I
Yeah,
hope you just. I hope you just keep going with it. I think I think this is awesome, and I think that this can definitely flower into an amazing garden.
yeah. Well, and listen, it takes your time. It takes guys like you to bring it to light to other people. I might be reaching an audience that I might not have ever connected with through you guys. And I hope it does. So, like you said, I could get all these people that I want to, put in these books.
Absolutely, and we
You
will
are more
definitely,
than welcome to ever come back on this show anytime you ever want to come on.
absolutely,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we will
And
definitely
listen,
post the links to the eBay page and everything. That way, anybody can connect directly to it.
excellent. Thank you so much, guys. I mean, this was really a pleasure.
It really was a
We had a
pleasure for us.
blast.
Believe me, it was great to hear everything about you. I am now a fan. I was asking Mike. I says, I have to like you need to send me some because I'm still kind of like new to a lot of the hardcore stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
I've listened to metal a lot, but not the hardcore punk stuff. I think the closest I've got to punk was like the early Beastie Boys days.
Yeah, yeah,
I,
yeah.
Earlier, I sent Johnny a picture of my 2 Hogan Heroes LPs.
I saw
Oh my
that.
God,
Like-
that's great. That's great. But I will tell you, I think the one record I loved the EP on Resurrection. I loved it. But United Brotherhood of Scenesters,
The victory release.
the victory release, I would recommend that to anybody
I
because
love it.
the message that Skip really came to light when we changed into OS 101. He finally became his own singer. And I would recommend listening to what he has. He has got a lot to say. And the messages that he has is really great. And props to him. But that is probably my favorite record that we have ever worked on.
It is a fantastic record. Truly is.
Thank you.
I liked everything you've ever. Let's just put this. I liked everything you've ever touched.
Thank you.
From Hogan's Heroes all the way on up.
Thank you.
So
Appreciate that.
Oh, guys, Mike, where can
trust me, it's all on my. It's all on my.
Yep.
All the appreciation is on this side of the camera.
Okay.
Trust me.
All right.
Where can you find me? I am Punk Rock Mike on Instagram, as well as Nomad Comics, and then Nomad Comics on TikTok. So I actually don't really think I have a show coming up right now. I'm doing the Akron comic book show the end of next month. I'm going on vacation next week, so don't bother me.
No, we're gonna call you from the road. Brian and I, we're gonna have a pretty decent show next week too. I think so.
Yeah.
Brian, where can everybody find you at?
Just Brian the Misfit on Instagram.
And John, again, it has been such an honor to talk to you and have you on. Believe me, we appreciate you coming on and joining us. And like Mike said, you are always welcome to come back at any time.
Thank you. I'm accepting the invitation.
Perfect.
That's fantastic.
Perfect.
And
Stick around for 1 second, John. After we kick off, I want to talk to you about something.
And
Sure thing.
real quick, also, everybody, appreciate you getting your geek on with us. But keep in mind, Weird Al for 2027 Super Bowl halftime special. And on that note,
Exactly right. Unite the country under the green banner of Weird Al.
The Weird Al.
You gotta love Weird Al.
But you guys have a great week, and we will be back next week with another episode of Lights, Camera, Pop. Have a good week.